And the Australian team are coming onto the field, and the crowd is ready, and there are the two reserves, Dennis Fitzgerald and Mark Thomas of Queensland. There's the Australian team on the field. It's Eadie number 1, McMahon number 2, Cronin 3, Gartner 4, Harris 5, Pearce 6, Colk 7, Pearce 8, Higgs 9, Beatson and Captain 10, Randall 11, Geiger 12, Beavers 13, and as I said, Fitzgerald is in 18 as the reserve, and Mark Thomas number 16 the other reserve. Coming on now is the Great Britain side led by their captain Roger Milway.
Number 2, John Holmes, number 3, Red Hill, number 4, Bill Francis in 5, Steve Nash, number 7, Phil Hogan, number 8, Eddie Harmon in 9, Len Casey in 10, Jim Thompson 11, Steve Elwell in 12, Steve Pitchford in 13.
And now the Great Britain team numbers. George Fairbairn, the fullback, is number 1. Stuart Wright on the wing is number 2. John Holmes and Les Dill are 3 and 4 in the centres. Stevie Nash, number 7. Phil Hogan, lock, number 8. Eddie Bowman, 9. Len Casey, 10. Jim Thompson, 11. Keith Elwell, 12. Steve Pitchford, 13. The reserve back is number 14, Ken Gill. Reserve forward, number 16, Peter Smith. Three is Billy Thompson of Huddersfield, England. Facing the ball, ready to kick off, is Mick Cronin. Stuart Wright pulled down by Terry Randall. Elwell out to Jim Thompson. He's spearheaded down by Randall again. Keeps moving into dummy half. Elwell, Eddie Bowman. Still down in Great Britain 25, and with me in the commentary position is Australia's great former international Bobby Fulton. Elwell. Stevie Nash at half-back gives it away to Eddie Bowman. Bowman back to Len Casey, a late replacement for George Nichols. Elwell back to Fairbairn, who puts the ball in the air, and Eadie is moving across. The bounce isn't good, has Eadie going back. He's on the Australian 25, a little bit of trouble gathering that in. Fairbairn is up there, as is Phil Hogan, the lock forward. There's Jim Thompson doing a piggyback. Colt, the first time he's handled the ball, gets it out to Pearce. Australia's lock, 35 yards out from the Australian line. Colt, Randall. Les Dill and Jim Thompson doing the tackling for Great Britain. Geiger, the dummy half. Colt, Pearce, beats him. Lost it over the top to Russell Gardner. Gardner had Harris there, but when Harris wasn't inside him quickly enough, went down with the ball. Cronin, Peard, Colt, the little fella off the middle of the game, and the Richmond got to get in quickly. There was Johnny Holmes trying to do a little bit of work to Colt's head. Beats him now. Back to Geiger. No, beg pardon, it was Mick Cronin. Scrum to go down.
This is their main tactic today.
Australian ball. Colt to Harris. Harris brings play infield. Pearce, dummy half. Colt, Peard. Dummies to Cronin, gives it to Higgs. Pulled down by Casey. Geiger. Peard. Pearce. Edie into the three-quarter line. Harris is actually stopped by Jim Thompson, but then it was Stuart Wright who came in to mark his opposite number. Beatson of Pearce, now with Randall. Randall across to Cronin. Cronin finds a gap. Cronin looking great. Beats it now to McMahon. McMahon goes to the corner, and it's a try. My goodness, that was a try. And we've only had about 2.5 minutes of play. A try after 3 minutes of play by Alan McMahon, the big burly Balmain wings big one. Here's the replay. Now, this really showed the lack of English defence. Randall was allowed to run. Cronin made the big break, positioned his man beautifully to McMahon, drew the defence. Actually, it was only Millwood was there as the fullback Fairburn came across much too late. And there was no stopping Alan McMahon with that try, Bob Fulton. Gerringong. A beautiful shot from behind it, but... And it's a good one. I thought it was going away to the right. Millwood kicks off. This is Edie. And who had such a big match in the second half against Great Britain at Lang Park. Geiger. Randall, of course. Geiger beats him, dummied back to Geiger, then gives it on to Beavers. Higgs, dummy half. Higgs decides to go himself, and the Bulldog makes 6 or 7 yards. Geiger to dummy half. Colt. Peard. Cronin. There's a Parramatta threesome. Under Russell Gardner. Quick hands on to Harris. Harris gets around. There's not Johnny Holmes. Still going. Harris is starting to cover him by heavier players there. Harris to play the ball. Peard onto Beatson, back to Colt. Bounced off by Randall and then goes forward to Beatson. And the advantage left is hardly a straight feed by Nash, but it comes out Great Britain side. Goes to Millwood. And we're right behind that one, and it certainly didn't look to be a straight feed into the scrum. Nash running onto it is Casey. Nash again. Look at that swarm of Australian forwards popping in from every tackle. Jim Thompson, Eddie Bowman, Casey. Hull Kingston Rovers players, a late addition to the team in place of George Nichols. Eddie Bowman now brings play up to the halfway, feeds it back to Phil Hogan, the boy from Barron. He's pulled down 10 yards inside Australia's half. And Great Britain working their way back into this game. Bowman now bouncing, bad ball, very bad play there, and it goes to Les Dill. Right in the middle of the mud case, gets it away to Fairburn. Fairburn turns it in field to Bill Francis. Bill Francis walks through one. Right at home with. It's a Great Britain ball again, so always doing a job. Goes from Nash to Millwood. Millwood gets it back now to Phil Hogan. Elwell from Widnes, known as the Mole. Inside distance. He's kicking around the corner. You've got a great shot of it here. 5-0 and the possibility of 5-2 coming up. Waved away and the opportunity goes begging. Russell Gardner running it out. Colt, Beavers. Geiger to dummy half. Beats him. At the Australian 25-yard line across there, and it's Higgs, Polk, Peard, Cronin. Oh, knocked down. Oh, bad luck there for Stuart Wright. If he could have got his fingers to that, he would have done the perfect intercept.
The ball.
And there it is, the English referee penalised 25. Edie, good kick, brings play 35 yards out. The tap is going to be taken by young Johnny Colk. Beatson. Oh, turned down and knocked down, and Edie couldn't handle the pass of Beatson, and spayed by Elwell to Thompson. Casey has been likened in English football to being a Randall-type tackler, which is a pretty big rap. Elwyn, Eddie Bowman. Back to Roger the Dodger. No, back to Nash, and then to Pitchford. Pitchford midway between the goal line and the Australian 25. Hogan, Les Dill, and on to Stevie Nash. Nash back to Fairburn. Fairburn across to Jimmy Thompson, and Thompson's fall down. Elwell. Eddie Bowman. Holmes was lucky to hang on to that one. Elwell. Nash, a little one over the top. This is danger, with plenty of danger. Eddie's underneath it. Alan McMahon almost got in his road there. Eddie did well to take that. And that's play inside the Australian in-goal area, and it'll be a line drop out to recommence play.
The Australian defence up the centre will have to tighten up a bit. England made good ground up there then, and could have come to something if the final pass from Pitchford, or if he could have got a pass to a support, but he was well tackled by Graham Eadie.
And this is Len Casey from Hull Kingston Rovers in the side. 10 minutes before the match started. Now it's Elwell, Bowman to Stevie Nash, who was blocked well before he could get his pass away to Hogan. Elwell, Johnny Holmes, Hogan, and these Englishmen certainly can move the ball around. It's Elwell's job, the hooker, to get possession for them. Nash, Bowman, Casey has Stewart right outside him, but Wright had to stop, and that was enough for Randall to gather him in. Pitchford to dummy half. Holmes, Bowman, Nash, along the ground to Dill. Dill going crabwise as Gartner comes at him, gets it to Bill Francis. Francis infield, then along the ground and picked up by Roger the Dodger Millwood. Thompson, one-handed pass to Pitchford, and here's a try on. Pitchford turns it inside, now he goes himself. They bought the dummy. They bought the Sydney Harbour Bridge. They bought the dummy. And before that, we'll see the try as the Australian defence must have seen it. This is a great shot of a replay of the try we've just seen. Now, there is Millwood sending it across to Thompson. Thompson one-handed across to Pitchford. Now, watch the defence. Where is it? There's Hicks coming across. He misses him. Edie took the dummy. Harrison's nowhere there. And there was no lock forward across. We're back to the kick-off, and it's 5-all. And anybody's game. This is Fairburn. And the Great Britain 25. Elwell, Thompson. Steve Nash speared. Bob Fulton.
This is where they'll need the long raking kick to gain them ground. They'll have to kick it away from Graham Eadie, but they're quite content to run it out and keep playing their own 25.
That was a run by Bowman. Bowen got a bit of a knock in that tackle. Thompson with the ball for Great Britain. Elwell, Nash, Holmes, trying to get the play out at the danger zone, and what a grand kick for touch it was. And they're letting our Cox put it in, and it's another Great Britain ball. I'll give you the statistics on the scrum in a moment. That was Millwood to Dill, and now it's back with Stevie Nash. Elwell, first pass off to Holmes, now to Phil Hogan. Millwood to dummy half. Holmes first pass off Millwood. Millwood cuts him out and gives it out to Thompson. This is Great Britain's Keith Elwell, the hooker, to play the ball. Thompson doing the running, and that's the Australian 25, you can see. Bowman back inside to Nash, who was darn lucky to hold that ball. Long one from Elwell to Millwood. So Stuart Wright going back. 6
going through the centre of the Australian forwards.
That's 4 scrums to 1, Great Britain's way as it goes out along the line. Fairburn is handled, and it's picked up very quickly by Russell Gardner. Gardner's looking for McMahon, but it's a one-away try by Gardner. Gardner goes in for a try, and it was a beautiful piece of work. Certainly a snap try to Australia after 22 minutes. Gardner's try, and that will certainly give the young 22-year-old from Manly a ton of confidence, and it puts Australia leading 8-5. Mishandling for one moment by Great Britain, and Gardner was away. Here's the replay. Watch. Now, there's the mishandle by Fairburn. It's picked up in a flash by Gardner. Gardner accelerates. He knows it's just a matter of keeping the speed on. Chasing him were 2 Great Britain players, but they had no chance to get him. That's Francis on your left and Dill on the right. And there is Russell Gardner scoring his first international try to make Australia leaders after 18 minutes. So some 8 points to 5. This is the conversion kick of Gardner's, and it's waved away, and it's 8.
I'd say lucky for Australia that Russell Gardner was on the spot then, because I don't think any other Australian player could have scored that try. I don't think they would have made the distance, because Dill wasn't gaining any ground on Russell, but he was level pegging him, and I think that maybe Dill would have picked up any of the other Australian players.
Well, there's the speediest man in the Australian three-quarter line probably, Russell Gardner, scoring that runaway try after a mishandle by Fairburn, the English fullback. Straight to Eadie. Measuring up is Nash. Biggs, Randall. You can hear the sounds there. Get away, play the ball. The instruction, Billy Thompson. Oh, and Les Dill goes high to bring down Greg Beavers. Geiger, Holt, Beatson. Pearce straight into Phil Hogan with a little bit of help there from Stevie Pitchford. Biggs, Holt,
there's a gap on out here, wide here.
Cronin and Bobby Fulton seen the gap, called it. Edie's through the gap, brings it back inside to Peard. Peard goes down. Lucky the Englishmen were able to get to him. Colt the dummy half. 4 tackles to go, indicates referee Thompson. Geiger. Randall swings it back to Colt again. Beatson. Over the top to the fingertips of Cronin. Pearce. Australia probing all the time and playing Great Britain's 25, 6 tackles, scrum to go down.
Gain position, they look like scoring each time.
There's a win for Australia, an ironic cheer from the crowd. Higgs, Peard, Cronin. Peard done in half, tries to go on his own. Only about 10 yards out. Geiger. Not quite quick enough getting the ball off the ground as Randall comes through. Randall was almost through there. Tried to get it away to Pearce, but he was well held. Randall played the ball. Pearce dummy half, across the Colt. Try on Beavers. Peard ran into Beavers. And intercept by Stuart Wright. But it was offside. Well offside. Now hold on. Fairburn has not been all that successful today. He's only 1 out of 2, and he's usually a bit better than that. "23 minutes of play, the ball's in the air. 33 minutes of play, I beg your pardon, and that makes it 8-7. 8-7, and it's Great Britain trailing by only 1 point.
Australia 8, Great Britain 7.
The kick is Great Britain.
No, we're in a commercial break. Well, it's all right, mate. Going well. Right, Bob Fulton.
The kickers Great Britain have had over the years have been these round the corner style, as Fairburn is, and the last one to kick like that was Johnny Gray, who had a lot of success here in 1975. and 74.
Fairburn with the ball now. Turns around to Elwell. Elwell to pitch to Jim Thompson. Elwell again. Casey on the blind side wearing number 10. Here goes the ladies. Dropped the ball. It was lost then by the Australian player, I think, Beavers, but Thompson didn't see it. So we've got to play the ball by Australia on Great Britain's 25. Geiger. Randall. Geiger gives it back to Higgs, who wasn't altogether expecting it. Expecting to go more out to the wide. So there's another spear tackle on Higgs by Bowman. Colk, Randall, Beatson, Cronin. Great Britain in this game, only trailing by a point. Beard, Beatson. Good low tackle in by Stevie Nash, you might have noticed.
No support for Arthur Beatson. There's nobody running off him at all. They're just standing back watching him take the ball up.
Beard. Here's another scrum to Great Britain. Standing out is Hogan. Nash to dummy half. Pitchford. This fellow will long be remembered on the Sydney cricket ground because he's just lost the ball. Here. Gardner. Les Dill has him covered. Gardner couldn't get the ball away to McMahon, so it's Gardner to play it. McMahon dummy half. Here. Cole. A long one across the Cronin. Then on to Mark Harris. Beautifully trying to Edie, but Edie wasn't home, and now it's picked up by Cronin. Cronin is wrestled down by Johnny Holmes. Whoa! Higgs. On the Great Britain 25. Cole Beatson waited for the run around, but no one was there to come around. Geiger. The dummy half. Pearce gets through Thompson's tackle, but Casey was there. Beavers the dummy half. Peard, Colt, Cronin. 6 tackle at Cash, comes round the blind. He had Hogan there, but decided to hold on to it. Hogan, Casey. This is Millwood. Elwell. Get off him. Nash. Thompson. Thompson knocked it down with his hand. Hopeless. Randall off the ground. Wasn't held, so he could throw it off the ground. Peared. Fairburn coming in to bring him down. Geiger, the Queensland hooker at the dummy half. Pearce. Cronin. Gardner. Harris with full ball, but there's 3 Englishmen there to pull him down. Holmes, right, Fairburn. Geiger. Beavers. Australian attack, very stereotyped. Geiger. Colt. Beatson. Lost the ball. Australia's Pearce falls on it, and jumping over the top to get at him is Nash. Higgs. Still going. Randall. Colt. Geiger. Beavers. Well, Bob. Edie kicking for touch. The score is locked at 8-7, Australia leading. This is the Tui's 1977 Rugby League World Championship telecast from the Sydney Cricket Ground. Beavers. Colk. Beatson. Colk. Knocked on by Edie into the hands of Hogan. Quickly to Bowman. Bowman across to Les Dill. This fella's got plenty of pace, but Gartner's up there and smothers him.
Well tackle, Russell Gartner. They're having a good duel out there, Dylan Gartner. I think Gartner might be just on top at the moment.
Bill Francis turns it back inside to Fairburn. Stevie Nash. Casey. Gap up the middle. Goes back to Hogan. Hogan turns around, tries to hold, but I think it's with Beavers, because Hogan lost it, and Beavers to play the ball for Australia. Beatty in possession, of course. Randall, Higgs, Beatson, Peard, Casey and Nash doing the tackling. Geiger into dummy half, play near the halfway.
Australia playing in the mud patch, I think they'll be better advised to get it out wide again as they were in the first 10 or 15 minutes.
That's when they were looking at their best, I think, Rod. Casey putting Higgs down. It's Geiger, Beatson. Back inside the Peard straight down the middle. The Elwell goes high and I think today. Behind the goal post, there's Cronin, the kicks in the air. And it's a good one. So after 35 minutes away, McMahon. Beavers is off for Australia and Fitzgerald and jumper number 18 is on. The two English replacements are on, Ken Gill 14 and Peter Smith 15. Johnny Holmes has gone out to the wing and out in the centres is Ken Gill. I'll tell you the position in the scrum of Peter Smith in a moment. Colk with the ball and this half-time score was Australia leading 10-7. Higgs, Peard. Penalty coming up here. Bit of biff going on, but penalties are now 5-4 Australia's way. But the important statistic in this second half, and we're giving it to you progressively, will most certainly be the scrums. Geiger, taps, Colk, Peard, Randall on the burst to Eadie. Johnny Holmes now on the right flank for Great Britain, pulls him down. Higgs. Geiger. Colk, Beatson. Decides to go, gets it back to Geiger, knocked down, and no chance for Fitzgerald getting to that one. It was knocked down and regained by Australia, it looks like. Yes, certainly, Geiger to play it, Higgs dummy half. Peard, Colk, Pearce. The Englishman tackling well. Cronin, Peard, Beatson, Fitzgerald. There's a touch and go, whether it was forward or not. Higgs to dummy half. Colk, Cronin, watch Cronin. Peard, rubber kick, not one bomb so far from Peard. As Bill Francis going back, Francis knocks it back infield. The linesman hasn't raised his flag. Nice work by Francis, very intelligent football to knock it infield, pick it up and then give it to Fairburn. Francis to dummy half. Elwell. Jim Thompson taking no chances, tried to run it up 5 or 6 yards. Pitchford doing the same. Just short of the Great Britain 25. Elwell, Bowman, Peter Smith. Nash on the half volley to Ken Gill. John Holmes put down hard by Australian ball, Pearce. Put down by Bowman. Higgs, Colk, Beatson, Peard, Cronin, knocked down, and he was lucky to fall on it. It went forward, so a knock-on's been ruled. We've got a scrum again. Well, Bob, it's about time the Englishmen came up with one of their scrums, because they can certainly whack some pressure onto Australia. We've only had 8 minutes of the second half, but this is a very important scrum.
Haven't seen a lot of Graham Eadie so far in this game, but I think you can attribute that to the lack of possession Australia's had from the set scrums, because that is one of his major attacking areas, is from the scrum.
Great Britain ball, Millward, Fairburn, Holmes to Fairburn. Back now to Les Dill, and Eadie's up there right onto Dill, and so is Colk. A little bit of extra work going between Eadie and Dill, no love lost. Holmes, Kenny Gill. Millward now to Bowman. Back to Elwell, who knocked the ball down. He must be cursing himself. Eadie in possession.
Yes, that could have been very dangerous for Australia there. If Elwell would have caught that ball, I think he possibly could have made it to the try line.
Is on. Is Fitzgerald. Paul beats him. Higgs. They are desperately trying to get play out of their 25.
This is where they need Johnny Peard now to come in and... well, I don't think Johnny Peard needs to have anybody telling him when to kick the ball, but...
Here's Beatson, now it's with Cronin. Cronin looked around for the court, none was there. Tiger to dummy half game. Higgs knocked down by a very anxious little Millwood, but is picked up by Randall, and now with Australia would play on the halfway. Beatson the player. Cronin dummy half. Pearce. Pitchford stopping him right in the middle of the mud. Colt. Pearce. Beatson. Pearce. Colt. Here's Peard going on the open side. Vandal. McMahon steps on the pace. Held to by Casey. Pearce knocks the ball down. It's picked up by Fairburn. Fairburn runs it outside the Great Britain 25. Australia looked dangerous the first time in the second half. Fairburn to play it. Elwell, Nash, Pitchford. Nash to dummy half. Higgs and Fairburn, a major blunder. Colt away. Fairburn down to Colt to the inside. Colt is in. It all came from Fairburn's visible mistake. Colt goes in for Australia's try of the second half after 15 minutes. And what a great test to do at training for little Johnny Colt of Parramatta as he walks back with big Alan McMahon alongside of him. 10 stone 7, the smallest international Australia's had for a long time. Here's the replay. Now watch it. Fairburn molds it. Goes back to try and fall it. McMahon quickly is through on the boot. He's able to gather the ball. He's now to play it. Colt to dummy half. It's Bill Francis marking. Colt dummies. Fairburn goes the wrong way and down the left flank as Les Dill closes on him. Johnny Colt puts the ball down and it's Australia's try. And at 13-7. It's 13-7. It's in the air and waved away. The score remains Australia leading in the second half, 13 points to 7. Try for Australia, the first try of the second half. Pearce on his knees, stopping the ball. That's Fitzgerald. Randall. Thompson throwing a ton of tackling. Peter Smith in there too, the replacement. Now Higgs goes the blind. Bringing play up near the halfway. Reminding you that the replacement is Beavers off, Fitzgerald on in the second half for Australia. Geiger to play it. Colt. Peard. Bill Francis. Got a hand to it. Bill Beatson and Higgs doing in the tackling.
What?
Elwell. Nash. Bowman. Nash. Nash then on to Millwood. Peard put him down and Higgs was there too, the Parramatta duo. Elwell. Bowman. Back it goes to Elwell again. Skirting, trying to get out to Bill Francis, but put down by Alan McMahon. Bill Francis, dummy half. Tim Thompson, Stevie Nash, Casey.
What a great tackle in from Terry Randall and Johnny Colt.
I just understand there's a typical Randall take the wind out of him tackle. Bowman, Gill, Fairburn. Fairburn back into the boots and it's kicked through by Gill, so it's still in play, quite legal. Edie's going for it, so too was Harris, but we have the ball in touch about a yard out from the Australian goal line. Stevie Nash. Millwood, Pitchford. Elwell, Nash, Gill. plays it, reverse between Gill and Nash, and now onto Millwood. Millwood's trying to bring it up to Australia's 25. Puts it out to Pitchford. Pitchford down the middle, still going. Gets to Giga, gets the pass away to Gill, and Gill's into the try. Another Pitchford try, but a forward pass ruled. No, it's a good try, An easy conversion now. We have Fairburn lining it up, and believe me, if this goes over, it's 13-12, and the game is very much alive. He's done it! And so it's 13, 1 point the difference. Australia leading 13-12. Nash to dummy half. Now look for a kick from Great Britain to get play down Australia's half of the field, because they're on their own 25 at present. Jimmy Thompson. Ken Gill. Pitchford. Randall doing a ton of tackling in there. Hicks coming over the top. Second tackle. Bowman. Back it goes. That's Stevie Nash. Millwood. Kick over the top. Nice bit of football. Interfered with after the kick. Will Thompson see it? Picked up by Eadie. And the linesman is in. And there's a penalty where the ball landed. So most needed to fall to the ground and kid Thompson into the fact that there was a penalty should be given. So here we take a look at this goal kick from behind. He's on the left-hand side of the screen. And here's Fairburn with the Australian crowd booing. But it was a legitimate penalty that Great Britain was given. Fairburn's kicking it. He's around the corner. No, it's waved away. Australia retains its 1 point lead, being run out by Eadie. That was Great Britain's chance to take the lead. Holt, Peard, Beaton, Geiger. Pushed down by Bowman as Geiger was about to play the ball.
Win this one.
Look where Thompson is down on the ground there. Billy Thompson, the referee, has called them back. Holt had that ball. What Australia's got to watch here is not to give away a penalty, because with the score 1 point the difference, Fairburn could put it over from 35 yards out. What a tough spot for Billy Thompson, the English referee. Okay, says Colt, put it in. Australian ball, Colt, Pearce, Eadie, trouble here, trouble. Casey put the Eadie down, and lucky for them. Gartner with some bunting around his foot. Peard. Higgs. Trip. And the Englishmen have been accused of this before, and Roger Mills was the culprit then. And that trip is going to cost them a penalty. And there have been complaints that some of the English players have been using the trip tackle. And so here's a penalty to Australia. And the penalty count at this stage is Australia leading 7-6. So there's been a pretty even distribution. That's Ray Higgs on screen now. And he's had his usual big tackling game. Eadie kicks for touch and brings play some 30 yards out the Great Britain line with a tap follow. Here's Colt with the ball now. Fitzgerald playing in number 18. Higgs beats him. Back to Higgs. Higgs up the middle. But Pitchford was there. Get off him. Higgs not happy. Geiger. Colt. Peard. Cronin. Coming fast was Eadie, but he overran the ball. Knock McMahon. Francis is there to smother him down, as Casey's been getting through a lot of tackling. Colt, Pearce, Australia on the attack again. Eadie just by a fraction overran that ball. Could have been anything. Now it's Beaton. Only a yard short of the line. Colt not heavy enough to get through there. Six tackle coming up. Higgs to dummy half. Let's see what Australia does here. Higgs goes wide. Just to Peard. Peard tries the line. Is he there? No. Six tackle. Scrum to go down 10 yards out.
What a great pass by Arthur Beetson, and then Johnny Cock nearly went over for his second try.
It was close. I think if Cock had had a little bit more weight, he may have made it.
Maybe 1 stone could have got him over.
10 stone 7 was not quite enough. Nash feeds it in a very delicate scrum. England has won it. I say delicate because a penalty from that scrum in front would have given Australia a great edge in this game, whereas they only hold a 1-point lead now. Roger the Dodger is running crab-wise, gets it to Fairburn. Now it's with Ken Gill, whom I thought is a big second half, tackled by Russell Gartner. Johnny Holmes, Pitchford. You can look for Thompson and Pitchford and company to be trying to die with this ball, just to run it out to get it away from their own goal line. Here's Thompson doing as I said. All along the ground, dangerous, but picked up now by Johnny Holmes, who's moved out to the right flank in the centre.
I think Great Britain side need Bowman in there at the moment to set a play going, and here he is just now.
There's Bowman to Holmes. Higgs. Fitzgerald, this is Elwell. Elwell's small enough almost to be mistaken for halfback. 6 tackles, scrum to go to 1 point the difference. A Great Britain ball once again. The big feature of this match has been the domination of the scrums by Elwell. Gill, Nash. Smith plays it to Pitchford. Pitchford, a good hard run, keeps on going. There's Dill to dummy half. Nash. Bowman. Big game from Bowman today too. Millward. In the mud, but still going. Offloads it to Dill. Dill back into the mud again to Thompson. Thompson out to Francis. Oh! That could have been an intercept. Yes, and McMahon has the ball. That was a terribly dangerous pass from Dill. Cronin. Holt. Here. McMahon going again. Over the top comes Francis to put him down. He kicks it underneath. Higgs running. Turns it out to the fingertips of Gartner. Gartner going past Fairburn. Still going, but pulled down just short of the line and lost the ball. Dill to play it on the Great Britain line. Elwell running it out. Big run there from Gartner, but lost the ball to undo all the good work. Nash. 2 Great Britain players on the ground. It's tough and torrid in this last 10 minutes. Thompson. 13-12. Australia leading by 1 point. Time running out. Nash. Peter Smith. Great Britain must get play down into Australia's half. Over the top. A little kick by Fairburn. Bounces back down to Cronin. Pierce, Australia's locked to dummy half. Pulling him down is Ken Gill. Eadie up in the play, getting anxious. Eadie running from dummy half. Almost through, but pulled down on the Great Britain 25. There's Beatson to dummy half. He's got to move on. Beatson goes himself, gives it out now to Peard, onto Colt. Quickly to Cronin. Cronin dummies to Higgs. Now it goes back to Peard. They're 10 yards out from the Great Britain line. Fairburn and Pearce tackled. Higgs over the top and gives it straight to Fairburn. That must have ricocheted off a player because it was just too bad to be true. Fairburn to play it. Nash at dummy half. This is the English man of the match, Bowman. Pitchford. Johnny Holmes to Jim Thompson. Time running out, and Great Britain have got to get play out of their 25 if they've got a chance to get out of this. Pitchford.
Australia throwing everything into the fence now, Ron. They know that all they have to do is contain Great Britain in their own 25, and they've got this game won.
Johnny Holmes. Peter Smith. And Great Britain looking a little bit beraggled and tired there because they've given it everything and they just cannot get out of their own 25 with this rock-like Australian defence. Very close to full time. Very close. What a great championship final this has been at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Millward. Dill. And anyone who's got the pace to do damage, it is Dill. Gets it out to Francis. Back inside to Fairburn. Along the ground with a kick. Picked up by Eadie. And that might be England's dying chance. But Mark. we'll be back for a full summary of the game with Bob Fulton and myself. But right now in centre field, before we have a message, you can see the players swapping congratulations, swapping jumpers. There's the Australian coach, Terry Fernley.